what does it look like for a company that has had systemic issues from a safety standpoint, but they've transformed it? What does that process look like? What is required for them to make those types of changes within their organization?
Yeah, so I found that the systemic problems usually stem from a couple of things. Number one is a lack of education on what are the requirements to begin with.
Hmm.
You can't get a hold of those problems unless you understand where things are going wrong. So carriers that have kind of fixed these problems, in my experience, they have started by um, educating themselves and their drivers on the areas where they are having problems. If you've got a lot of drivers that are having hours of service problems, then there's really no substitute for bringing those drivers in and giving them some additional training on those requirements and helping them understand where things are going wrong. And it's not just drivers. It's a lot of times it's your safety team or the owners of the company. There's just so many regulations out there that we, as regulated fleets, are expected to comply with. It's not surprising to me that there will be some gaps in understanding of how these regulations apply to my fleet. So first things first, you got to make sure that you have a foundational understanding of the requirements that apply to your fleet. So education is a big part of it, but also being proactive. I find a lot of fleets that have problems are just trying to put out fires as they
Mm.
come to them. We've got the DOT knocking on our door for an audit. What can we do to fix it now? It's too late at that point to fix a lot of the problems that they're going to discover in the audit.
Right.
So too many fleets, and it's understandable. I get it. They're trying to do business. They're trying to make money. They're trying to survive. So they got to do what they can do. But spending a little bit of time to be proactive in understanding what your safety metrics are saying about you and
Mhm.
starting to close gaps where you see them goes such a long way to keeping yourselves out of the crosshairs, not only on the DOT side of things. That's usually the least of my concerns.
Mhm.
My bigger concern is your highway accident exposure that you have, if that is you, if you have high CSA scores, if you have high out of service rates. You can imagine how that plays out if, God forbid, one of your drivers goes and kills somebody in a bad accident. Do you want to find yourself in that litigation having to defend why you thought it was acceptable to continue to operate with so many gaps that were patently obvious to you? And so I think education and being proactive are the two main things where fleets that have chosen to take the steps to improve their efforts, that's where they really get the biggest bang for their buck.